who's going to win the NFC South? That it's every once in a while, and I apologize to my friends and family. I'm having a conversation with someone, and in the back of my brain, I'm going, "This is going to go on the show tomorrow. This is a good segment." So I was talking with my buddy who is a diehard Saints fan, has been my entire life. Right, goes back well before Breeze, well before even Aaron Brooks. Like for us in our 30s, that's a long time back. Diehard Saints fan. And we got to talking about who's going to win the NFC South because he knows I cover the Panthers, and it's a conversation point. And it was crazy how much we instinctively saw the division differently. We didn't necessarily disagree, but we were coming at it from two different angles, right? So he made the observation that the NFC South is almost always won by the team that's most under the radar, right? He's like, it's not even the team that everybody says is the worst. It's the team who nobody is saying anything about. And he pointed to the Bucs last year, right? He was like, there's usually a team with a bunch of hype. There's usually a team with a bunch of whatever the opposite of hype is. Everybody thinks they're going to be trash. And then there's these two middle teams, and whichever one's talked about least, that always wins. And I was like, that's funny. It's a good observation. Pretty true. And then he went Bucs, and I went Saints. And I was like, wait a second here. So we agree the under-the-radar team, is going to win. But now we have disagreements on who's under the radar. He was like, well, the Bucs won last year. They won the division. Nobody was talking about them. And I was going, well, yeah, but they gave Baker a big contract. It feels like they're in the mix. I'm going, nobody is talking about the Saints. And he's going, well, they kind of are, right? It's the Derrick Carr thing, and now there's I just blanked on the South Carolina quarterback that's down there.
Spencer Rattler.
Rattler. I was going to call him Stabler, but I knew that wasn't right. He's like in Rattler, and it's and it's they still have the famous guys. They still have Cam Jordan and Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara, and I'm going all right, maybe. And then we got to thinking, and we're like, all right, well, the Falcons are the favorite, and the Panthers are who everyone thinks is going to be trash. But the Falcons also have that little bit of dream team feel. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like nobody is super accomplished, but you feel like putting them all together is going to make them go crazy. Like that. I say dream team because there was that one Eagles dream team back in 2011 where it was a whole bunch of Nnamdi Asomugha and Vince Young and Mike Vick and all these guys were on a team. They started calling themselves the dream team, or at least Vince Young did. Didn't work out that way. Turns out, put together a bunch of pieces, it might not always work. The Falcons have a lot of talent. Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. And everybody's just assuming you drop Kirk Cousins in the mix and suddenly they're going to be a great offense. And I'm going well, Kirk Cousins, he's very good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Very rich, don't get me wrong. But he's never really proven to lead a playoff contender.
He's also up there in age, and he's coming off a significant injury.
And they drafted his backup in the first round, 8th overall.
I was going to say, when you mentioned you drop Kirk Cousins in the mix and just expect him to be good, I almost said, or Michael Penix.
So now I'm looking at this and I'm going, you know what? If you told me any team other than the Panthers, if I went into a coma today and I woke up and it was the first, that Tuesday, first week of the NFL playoffs, the regular season just ended, I think you could tell me anyone other than the Panthers and I wouldn't be floored. If you told me the Panthers, I'd be shocked. Don't get me wrong. But if you told me the Falcons won, I'd go, oh, look at that. Kirk worked. If you told me the Saints won, I'd go, all right, that's probably a pretty boring season for everybody, wasn't it? Told me the Bucs, I would be like, all right, maybe they didn't miss Dave Canales, but all right, makes sense. All of them are in the mix. And if you're a Panthers fan, again, I don't think the Panthers are going to win the division. I've been pretty upfront right there with that, right? I think they'll be better than they were a season ago, but I do not think, players should refrain from scheduling, vacations during the divisional round, if you catch what I'm saying. You don't tell your teammates you scheduled it, but hey, you can probably put the down payment on the Airbnb. However, it's nice to know there's no juggernauts, right? When you're a team like the Panthers that is looking for winnable games, right? And by the way, when the schedule was first put out, the Panthers were one of two teams that were not favorites in any game, right? Not a single one. Now, their win total is still 4 or 5, depending on which book you look at, 4.5. But they were not favored in any individual game. So you're just looking for games that are winnable. This division provides a bunch of them. If you were in the, say, AFC North, and you're running into the Bengals, you're running into the Ravens, you're running into, like, that whole unit.
Yeah, I don't like those odds so much.
Then I'm going, like, part of your win total is out of your hands. Right? Part of your win total just comes down to who you are playing on your schedule. And you play your division twice each. Panthers could be the worst team in the division and win 2 or 3 of those division games. That means you either matched or exceeded last year's complete win total just in your division.
Because here's the thing, I feel like we were sitting here around this time last year saying the exact same thing.
I actually think last year we were sitting around trying to talk ourselves into the Panthers could win it.
Yeah.
Because the division was so bad. I'm not even saying like they're bad so the division is you can go win it. I'm saying it's bad so it gives you opportunities for bright spots. Right? I don't think there is a realistic Panthers fan out there that would be upset with 6 or 7 wins. I mean, sure, you have your optimism and your fantasies of like, all right, let's go win 12 games. I looked at the schedule; there's 12 wins.
Let's somehow sneak in the playoffs.
Like, I root for it. Don't like. You're a fan. Be fanatic. Be a fanatic. Like, root for it. But a realistic fan, I think, looks at 6, 7 wins and goes, "Yeah, that's pretty good." And I think you're more likely to get there because I look at the NFC South and go, they all have flaws. They all have reasons to be concerned. And even if one of them plays out their potential, that means 2 probably don't. If I had to pick who's going to win the NFC South, I think I'm going Falcons. But I hope you recognize that, if you were taking the stenographer notes or you're doing the closed captioning for what I'm saying, there's probably a question mark at the end of that. I didn't say it with a period or an exclamation point. It wasn't like I'm taking the Falcons. It was like, the Falcons, I guess.
If I'm having to choose?
Yeah, sure, Falcons. And if you're the Bucs fan and you're upset by that, I get it. If you're a Saints fan and you're like, what about us? I get it. It's just it's an ugly division to be in.